My biggest thing is I heavily invest in training. I would ask them a question: does my boss care about my development and invest in my career, and getting them the training that they need and investing in their development? We have something pretty unique to Lexus alone. We have the Lexus lease, where after they're master certified, which they all are now, there is a good portion of the lease that's paid for by Lexus. Yeah, it's a pretty substantial retention tool when, if the employee was to leave, that, now they're on the hook for the full payment of the Lexus.
Right.
And, my goal is to get everybody one. I think it'd be really cool to see, my group at the next iCar meeting, and all of them are, roll up in Lexuses.
Yeah.
And have all the other shops go, what's going on over there?
Right. So we talked about a lot of things that you're doing with team building, culture, profitability in the shop. And one thing that you had said to me on our call originally is we were talking about this recruitment issue in the industry, that everybody's trying to recruit new people, find new people, and you have a different take on it a little bit. So share that with us real quick.
I do. And, I love hearing new ways and innovative ways of getting new people into the shop and into the industry. But I hear it. I hear it at just about every conference I go to. And what I don't hear enough of is retention. What are we doing to retain the people that we have? What are we doing to cater to make the people feel that we have something that can't be replaced? I've seen so many people lose a person for a few dollars an hour to the next one of the big guys, whatever it is. Everybody needs techs right now. So my thought on that, and my vision is if we're not doing something different from the competition, then we're in trouble.
Right.
I heavily invest in training. My biggest thing is if I would ask them a question: does my boss care about my development and invest in my career, and getting them the training that they need, and investing in their development? We have something pretty unique to Lexus alone. We have the Lexus lease, where after they're master certified, which they all are now, there is a good portion of the lease that's paid for by Lexus. It's a pretty substantial retention tool when, if the employee was to leave, that, now they're on the hook for the full payment of the Lexus.
Right.
And, my goal is to get everybody one. I think it'd be really cool to see, my group at the next iCar meeting, and all of them are, roll up in Lexuses.
Yeah.
And have all the other shops go, what's going on over there?
Right. Now, I think the Lexus lease thing is only for dealership owned shops.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. But what can you do? What can you do as a manager to do a manager, owner, one shop MSO, to create something that nobody else is doing right now?
Totally.
So whether it's a retirement program that's a little different, sometimes there's phantom stock issues, but we really got to think out of the box. Otherwise, we're going to keep trading people. It takes, there's a lot of cost to turnover.
Yeah. And it's, you talked about like the few dollars. So people will leave a shop for a few dollars. It's really not the few dollars. It's money. Money's money. We can always offer somebody a little bit more money if they're totally bought in and they're invested in your shop and what you're doing there because they feel like the shop has invested in them. That connection is hard to break over dollars and cents, really, when it comes down to it.
Yeah, I mean, our shop, we have kind of a unique path where I think a lot of the independents that are listening to this do as well. But we're using more OEM parts. We are doing more correct and safe OEM repairs.
Right.
We have flexible work schedules. We're looking at a 410 model. At the end of the day, when somebody comes for a few dollars an hour or more, and they got a boss that they can say, hey, it's my kid's soccer game, I got to go, or hey, I want to do it this way, and they can go home at the end of the night, or having beers with their buddies, and they can say, oh, this is where I work, and they're really proud of it because we do good work. And when they go, hey, how's your boss? And he's like, hey, he's pretty cool. He helps me out with what I need.
Yeah.
and he's really supportive. I think that's where, and again, invest in the training and their development too. I think that's what sets us aside from the rest of the people that are always focusing on recruiting, that are forced to put warm butts in a seat that may or may not be ready for the position yet.
Right. So along those lines, when you're talking about retaining, I would assume then your turnover is fairly low and people stay with you for a long time.
Almost non-existent. Again, getting when you change a culture, you do have to remove a few of the anchors.
Yes.
But the people that you don't want to lose, you should be able to keep if you are thinking far enough out of the box and you're speaking their work love language.
Right. And I think that's important too, is meeting your people where they're at. Each individually is important. I think it was Michael Bradshaw came on and we talked about something similar of knowing your people one-on-one, being involved and like their love language, like what is important to them, how, and like you had mentioned, like how do you speak to that person versus, you have two CSRs up front, two ladies, two are 25 years old. They're completely different. It's like just because you speak one way to one doesn't mean that's the way the other one wants to be. Things that are important to one aren't important to the other necessarily. So it's knowing that. You have to know your people to know those things.
Yeah, and you got to care what you care about. I mean, Michael Bradshaw is a great example. I know him personally, and I respect the heck out of him. He runs an amazing organization, but it's not just talk. He does a ton for his people. Yeah. And that's why he's keeping them. That's why he's different. And that's what I mean is if we're not doing something that the shop down the street is doing, we're in trouble.
Well, yeah. And that really goes to all levels, but especially when we're talking about, the technician shortage, like this big shortage, everybody's dying for people. Like, great point. What about retaining the people that you have so we're not having this turnover, and at the same time being mindful of those people that are not in alignment and getting rid of the weeds in the garden or the anchors, however you want to call it. Those people and clearing those people out helps to retain the others, because it takes one person in to start creating a lot of negativity.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about identifying their motivators, and every single one of them has a different motivator. It's not always about money. Right. Caring what they care about, and giving them something unique, and going out of your way to find out what their motivator is.
Yeah. So, and you're constantly learning, bettering yourself. You just got back from the Discover Leadership program with Mike Jones. How much do you think that affects how well your shop is running and how effective your people are with your self-development that you do?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I try to get to everything that I can. I've been doing that for quite a while now. And, there is some things that I don't do anymore because there's only so many things you can go to. But almost once a month, I am, somewhere else. Some months it's twice a month. But to an OEM conference, you mentioned the Spartan Group, Mike Anderson and the Collision Device team have been a game changer for me. Getting out, even listening to your podcast. I mean, wherever we can get the information, this is an industry where if we look at it, most of the people in my mind, maybe I'm wrong, but people that are watching your show, they're independents. They're trying to learn. They're trying to pick through what they like, what they don't like, and try to apply, some insights to their own wheel that unfortunately they're having to recreate.